Thank you very much, Freak. And fresh off their second win of the day, we want to welcome Cloud9's Balls and Hi to the desk. Gentlemen, congratulations again on the second win of the day. Hi, I got to ask you, coming into this game, did you think that would be the end? Did it actually catch you off guard that that's how it ended after such a hard-fought game?
Well, the game kind of went weird because we had like 2 or 3 really big misplays where we kind of suicided and made the game much harder for ourselves. So I didn't really see us just... obviously, I'm not going to see that game ends that way, so... Right. It is really weird.
All right, so let's go back to how the game started then. Coming into this, tell us about your team composition with all the shields that you guys are building up.
Right, so we don't necessarily just... I didn't think about the shields, really. I didn't really notice until you just said it. So, but you just pick champions in order of priority, right? So we just picked what we thought was best at the time, so we just picked accordingly. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you priority or anything, but I mean that's what we did in Champion Select, and we were taking what we prioritize and what they also prioritize. So it was kind of like a win-win situation.
All right, Balls, can you talk a little bit about your Shen matchup with Shyvana, because it seemed to go really well for you?
Well, there's a lot of top lane champs that were banned out, and they first picked Shyvana, so they gave us Kha'Zix Lulu for that. And I had to choose another top lane champ to play, and that was pretty much Shen against Shyvana. It was just pretty much a farm lane, and I was going to just ult at level 6 and help my teammates later. And yeah, there were some misplays, and I just got really fed off that.
Interesting to see you go back to Shen, obviously because of the pick, but last season we heard the team saying you had such a love-hate relationship with him. You'd play him for a few months and then just kind of forget about him. But obviously the love came back during this game. Looking at your picks now, talking about more picks before we jump into replays into this game, the Soraka, was that something that you had coming into the last few weeks, or has it kind of been something you've held since the split started?
Well, I get a lot of things from solo queue. So when Kirby kicking that mid Soraka guy, I believe, started spamming Soraka, I lane versus it multiple times. I'm just like, what do I do in lane versus it? I can't do anything, and the only way to beat it was just camp with a jungler. And when you have a champion that has to, the only way he loses is in a 1v2, it's just basically a really good champion. So I like her a lot, and I get inspiration from solo queue, so I give props to them. And then that 1 week Scar, I got a ban versus him every single game, I think. He wanted to bust it out, so I'll do it for him since he's not playing anymore.
Right on.
The homage to Scar, I like it. Now, you did talk a little bit about your guys' priorities in picks bans. You don't have to tell me what they are, but are they different from team to team? Like, say, if you're going against CLG, do you have the same list of priorities that you're looking at in Champion Select?
It's different per team because different teams prioritize different things. Mm-hmm. So, like, for example, TSM and, say, I guess, EG, they have completely different priorities on what champions they want. So depending on what team we go against, we have a different priority list for each team of what we want and what they want. So,
right on. So let's jump into the game now. The reason we have you guys here for the W, looking at the first replay, about 24 minutes into the matchup. We're going to get that on your screen right now. Talk us a little bit of how you kind of took this back, because it was CLG brute forcing you, and then you knew when to turn onto the pocket they were sitting in.
Okay, so they're trying super hard to force down this turret here, which isn't necessarily a bad idea, but they're in a bad position. Me and Kaz is coming from the side, and Doublelift is too far up right now. He has to be the one to hit the turret, though, because he's the AD carry, but that puts him in a bad spot, and we basically get both our frontline champions to jump on him. Balls gets in, gets the taunt, and they're all in a bad spot right now. So Corki's like untouched by the rest of their champions, and those three just die to us three, and they basically force the turret too hard.
And something like that, how quick do you formulate that you are able to do that and that it will work out in your favor? Is it a few steps ahead, or does it have to happen in that second?
Well, the moment they started pushing mid and I was bottom, I was like, hey, we can fight this. They're in a bad spot. So that's where I started charging over from bottom. I tell Kha'Zix to come in the same side as me. Balls is ready to ultimate, and we basically would force a fight from there.
When you're running a team with a lot of ultis that are very defensive, like Shen and Lulu, do you guys have to coordinate amongst yourselves who's going to use each other's ultimate when, or is it just reactive?
I think it's a lot of reactive because you can't just tell someone all the time when to just ult. Like right now, you have to be watching. Like, I have to watch my teammates and when to go in, and then I also communicate with them and tell me when to go into, and they also yell out, so it's a lot of preparation.
Right on. We'll get right into the second replay, actually. This one at about 30 minutes into the game. CLG was pushing quite, or you guys, I should say, were pushing quite hard. And you get chased out of this one, and it really looked like CLG was able to gain some big ground here. What was the idea with having some advantage in this?
Okay, so there was a really big misplay here by me. It was my fault. I saw Shyvana pushing mid, and I thought it was only Shyvana, so I was like, hey, it doesn't matter. She's pushing against super creeps by herself. Just push pot. But then they sent the other 2 mid. I didn't see that in time. So they basically got an inhibitor for free, which shouldn't have happened. So they're like super far behind right now, but they get a free inhibitor just because they have a good rotation. They said, hey, screw it, push down through mid, let them push bottom, whatever. So they had a good rotation, and we got punished for that, giving them a free inhib. And this fight would have went better, but I believe me and Lemon suicide to Nian over here, where he like E flashes over the wall and kills us both. So in the case we didn't get double killed here, that would have went much better for us. But the fact that Nian played that well and killed us kind of made that a giant advantage for them. Even though we got more kills, they got a free inhibitor when they shouldn't have.
And you guys say, obviously, you don't communicate that where mistakes were made, but how do you quickly just kind of get back from a scratch like that on the play?
Well, when you're in a game, you never hindsight something. So, like, if someone does a stupid dive, you do not call that guy out. You don't say anything bad. You make a bad play, whatever. Just move on from it. That's the pass. So when that happened, we was like, all right, whatever. Moving on. What's the next thing we do? What's next? Just make plans for ahead.
Very strong play, obviously, coming out. That win is huge for you guys, but obviously you look forward to tomorrow. Team Solo Mid, one of the teams you scrim against more than not. What are you guys feeling coming into this game, Balls?
Well, pretty much just a farm lane, top lane for me. Not much new, I guess. But it's going to be like overall solid play that we have to make.
And Hi?
Well, playing against Bjergsen, all that guy wants to do is win his lane. That's his sole goal in the entire game. He wants to win his lane. He's going to try and kill you, and he's going to try and carry. The last time we played against each other, I think I was Zed versus a Blanc. It didn't necessarily go in his favor, but it didn't go in my favor either. So this time around, hopefully either I can kill him or just not let him play his way. So
Last week, TSM didn't seem to be performing as usual, a little bit weak, even though they were coming out with wins. Have you guys scrimmed them maybe since then? And do they still look a little bit weak? Do you guys think you have a good chance at this, or do they look back and forth?
we haven't scrimmed any team that we played during Superweek. So the 3 teams that we don't play, we've been scrimming them. We've been scrimming LMQ. So obviously we're not going to scrim TSM, CLG, XCG, and Coast just because we play them this weekend. So I have no idea what they've been doing.
So coming into this season, let's talk about stats a little bit. Not to put you in the hot seat, but you are one of the lower farmers in the mid lane, but that's because you roam. Is it kind of on your mind that you are behind in farm usually, so you have to make up in other places when you're playing that spot?
I don't really care for what my stats show. I play to win this game. I don't necessarily play to win the lane. And I do a lot of things that aren't really selfish. Like, a lot of people give Mitos crap for taking my blue buff. It's not mine. He can take it if he wants. It just depends on who can make more out of it. And if me farming mid versus me diving bottom, whatever one's more important, I'll go do that one. So all I want to do is win the game. I don't care for all. Well, that'd be cool to go all stars, but I don't care to be a star or anything. I just want to win the game, and that's all that's important to me.
Right on. And Balls in the top lane. What's it kind of feel to be headhunted as the one that's always going to beat that guy in top lane? Even Dyrus is saying 80% of the time you're the one to come out on top. What's that kind of do playing on your mind in a game?
I mean, it feels good knowing that everyone thinks of me highly, but I think I'm just playing well, and there's not really much to do when all I see is red creeps and farm them all, and my team lets me do that, so it makes my CS look high, but it's pretty much just team play. Like, whoever gets a gold is divided between the teams, and other teams prioritize gold higher on other players than other teams. And I think I get a lot of farm compared to sneaking high most times just because I see red creeps and farm them.
All right. We have a little bit of extra time here, so I'm sure people are very interested in your Rumble. Do you have any advice for people who are trying to pick up Rumble because of maybe this new skin that's coming out?
Well, first of all, it's pretty hard to farm with Rumble because of his flame splitter. So you have to play a Rumble a lot and get used to the timing of flash hitting with his flame splitter on, or also turning it around. But there's also a lot of stuff depending on your lane matchup and the junglers, you have to decide when to push a lane or farm, I guess. And most of the time on Rumble, I start flame splitter and try to win my lane. But in solo queue, it's pretty hard when they just gank you right away. So.
All right, Hi, final question. I know last year Jack would always take you guys out on the wins for pizza and good food, some boiling crab. What's on the night of a Super Week? What are you guys going to do after a victory now?
I think I'm going to go home and take a nap. It's going to be eating and sleeping just because I do want to play solo queue, but it's on patch 4.5 right now, and that messes entirely with my damage values. People are going different runes. I'm going different runes.
Interesting.
So if I did that, I wouldn't be used to it. So say I kill someone at level 3 in solo queue, try to do that tomorrow, it's not going to be the same just because runes are different. So I would like to play solo queue, but I cannot. So I'm just going to sleep and eat.
All right, because I'd be looking to call you out on that level 3 all-in.
Yeah.
But congratulations on the win, guys. Best of luck in more wins in the season and against Team Solo Mid tomorrow. Best of luck to both of the teams. All right, everyone, we've got to take a quick break, but when we come back, Dignitas will face off against Curse in our 4th game of the day. It's Super Week. The NALCS continues.